Interface Video presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fairhope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities, and the Frankie Smith Funeral Home.
Hello friends, and welcome to Fairfield Today. I'm your host Paul Jasson, and it is a pleasure to be with you. And as we begin taping today, it is perhaps the best looking day of the year here in Lancaster. Not a cloud in the sky, beautiful day. It's springtime, and that means a lot going on downtown. In a little bit, the second half of the show, speaking of downtown, we'll be talking to Dave Scheffler about Destination Downtown, and they have just a log jam of tremendous events coming up for downtown. But first of all, we're going to talk about being springtime. We're going to talk about one event that always rolls around this time of year. It is Memorial Day, kind of the unofficial beginning of summer. And if it's a Memorial Day, that means for Lancaster, the Memorial Day Parade. And to help us explain what goes on here, which is always a pretty neat day here in Lancaster, is Mary Austin. Mary, how are you?
I'm great.
Good.
Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you. And Mary always takes on not only this, but also in November, the Veterans Day Parade. Mary is a retired veteran herself, and she always takes on these events. And I know, even though it's a lot going on, it's really a labor of love for you. You enjoy doing this.
I enjoy doing it. I really do. It's an honor and privilege to be selected to do this for the last almost 15 years.
Has it been that long?
It's been that long.
Yeah. Well, you do a great job, and it's usually, about the same players every year, but it's a matter of assembling them, making sure they're all available, you have to get a permit the way it works, everything has to be done. There's an order to do it, and I'm sure you've got it down to a science. Now, there's not much gets by you, I suspect, anymore.
No, we do miss a couple of veterans that do pass away, but we try to catch everyone. I have people calling me at the last minute adding names. As you know, during the ceremony, we have the extra little list of people that, family members want them.
There's always a few surprises.
Yeah, a few surprises of people.
We
try to mention them during the ceremony because some veterans don't belong to the service organization, so, we try to honor them anyway. So if you have a loved one and want to get, part of the ceremony, we do take names up to the end, and me and Paul try to work them into the program.
Usually make it.
They usually make it. We do miss a few. We try not to.
It's pretty fluid, though. We, if anybody can get in, we let them in.
Yes, we let them in.
One of the names I noticed this year, and I can only think of the mayor, which was Dave Smith, for many years, and he was always here. I can only think of one time when I believe he was having surgery, and so Dave missed that. Ken Culver filled in for him. But Paul Martin, who is the service safety director, is filling in. But the mayor's office, always very responsive in wanting to be involved in this.
Always being responsive. The mayor's been there only 1 year, and that was the year he had surgery. If he's not there, he does make it a point to send someone, and his representatives are always excited about passing out the flags.
And Paul's a good
kids.
guy, so yes. Paul will do the service safety director, Paul, will do a great job. And I was looking at some of the other people. We'll talk about the veterans groups, which are really the why we have this. But I was looking at some of the other people. Shannon Graff will be joining us again, doing the Gettysburg Address. Yes. She was just a young person, and now she's probably getting close to retirement, I suspect, at some point. And maybe we can get her daughter to do it, because she always brings her daughter now.
Yeah, she's grooming her daughter, but we won't let her retire.
And not from this.
No, I've been doing it for 15 years, and I know she was with Fondo Finley way before me.
Yeah, she does a great job. She's a teacher out at Lancaster High School, our teacher, and it's always fun to have her. And then one of the big groups that always join us, except on Sundays, and of course that's one thing I think is worth pointing out, that we always have this event on Memorial Day. Yeah. That's just like Veterans Day, we have it on that, but only when things fall on a Sunday they don't come. It's the Lancaster High School Band of Gold. They do such a great job. Ben Factor.
They do. The kids love it. Ben tells me that the kids are more excited about our parade than any other. They love doing the Memorial and the Veterans Day Parade, and we're honored to have them. Even when the high school was having so much trouble Ben made a point to have the kids out there for us.
Well, he's a great director, and he looks like he could be one of the kids. I often kid him about that. I wonder if he walks down the halls if they ask him if he has a pass.
Yes.
You can't be out here, young man. Oh, wait, I'm the band director.
I know I have such a trouble when we go to these events and I go to find him to give him the program and such. He blends in with the children so well. I have a hard time finding him.
I get that.
Yeah.
And then I think we have a nice, immediately following the ceremony, which is at 11 o'clock. We might tell everybody when it is. That's this Monday, coming up less than a week now, on May 29th at 11 o'clock, down at Forest Grove Cemetery. Kicks off at 10:30.
And the parade starts on the corner of Columbus and Mulberry.
Dr. Tenz's parking lot.
Yes, and we step off directly at 10:30. Now, if you want to be in the parade, you can be in it up to the last minute. All you have to do is contact me. You could contact one of the service organizations. They've been told to give my phone number. The mayor's office knows my phone number. I'd be happy to put you in there. The only stipulation is you have to be a veteran. We want no businesses because it takes away from the meaning of the ceremony.
Yeah, this is not the holiday parade.
No, it's not the holiday parade. It's a very short parade.
Yeah.
It's only not even a half hour long. And the reason being is because we have that half hour ceremony at the cemetery.
Yeah, so we try to get going right at 11. Maybe it's sometimes 11 to 5. We're trying to get all the parts together. But I wanted to mention that after, and we'll talk about what goes on at that 11 o'clock ceremony, but then following that, come right down behind us down here on Veterans Square, and you actually have something that some people may not know about.
Yeah, right after the ceremony at the cemetery, we come down to Cannon Square and we lay the wreath in honor of all the veterans who passed away before us. And you'd be surprised, there's numerous. Some have close, I think the Legion one year had 90.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I was surprised how many, they're dying left and right.
Yeah. And that's really what we do, and that's really the focus. We do, again, we're glad the band is there. We're glad the mayor is represented there. Shannon is there. I think Tim Schaefer is going to be there this year, our representative, and he'll have a proclamation. And we're thankful for all those people who take time on a holiday to join us for this, what we think is very meaningful ceremony. But the important thing, I think, is that you have all the veterans organizations from around the area, and a spokesman is representative of all them, and they read the names of those who passed in the previous year, and that's always a pretty moving part.
Yes, it is. And sometimes you hear the same name twice or
more
three
than
times.
twice. Yeah, a lot of veterans have joined everything.
Yeah, I belong to all of them.
Sure.
Just because with being in the parade and everything, I think it's important that I belong to all of them, just like I'm
Sure.
the newly elected commander of 1516, the
Very
VFW.
good. We like that.
Yes.
So, and I think if you have had a family member or a friend pass in this past year, and they were a veteran, you'll hear their name mentioned when. And again, as Mary said, sometimes 2 and 3 people names are read because they've been a member of different organizations. But it's kind of neat to hear their names mentioned. And I've shared this story before. When my father passed away, it was earlier in the year, and I kind of forgot about this moment. And so I'm down there, and they're reading the names. All of a sudden, I hear my dad's name, and oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But so it's very meaningful, I think.
Yeah, especially some of the wives come just to hear their name.
Yep.
And Fondo Finley's daughter, Mrs.
Joyce Cox.
always comes every year just to see the ceremony because we do honor her father in his memory.
And I think that's important to mention that a couple of people names always come up, and again, it's on the shoulders of other people who carried this all along before you and I were involved in this. Fondo Finley ran this for many years when it wasn't nearly as big or as popular, but he kept it going because he knew it was the right thing to do, and his MC was always Harry Rollins.
Oh, yeah.
And so we always mention, and Joyce, Fondo's daughter, is always down there, and usually some family member from it was his wife when Esther was still alive, but it's sometimes a family member comes from them. But again, I think the people that are there remember those days because lots of people have been coming this for a lot of years.
Oh yeah, a lot of years. I see a lot of familiar faces, and sometimes they just come to the cemetery
Sure.
to watch the ceremony. But a lot of them line the streets along Columbus as we're marching into the cemetery.
Well, let's. I wanted to mention Tony Salvatore. Tony,
yes.
who is our Vietnam veteran,
Yes.
pastor down at Maywood Mission, is going to do our Master of Ceremonies. He handled it last year at the Veterans, and now he's going to do this. He's very committed to helping out there, so we thank Tony. So let's again remind everybody that it's this Monday, May 29th. It steps off at the corner of, what is that, Chestnut?
No, it steps off in the corner of Columbus and Mulberry.
Mulberry, okay.
It's directly at 10:30. If you
Okay.
want to be in the parade, you've got to be there by 10 o'clock.
Okay.
And again, if you're a veteran and want to be in the parade, we always have room on the floats. Or you can bring your car. As long as I know you're coming, we will put you in the parade. The only thing is you got to be a veteran. If you're a business and honoring a veteran, like Bob Boyd, sometimes they'll put a convertible in there honoring a veteran, and we'll allow that. But they have to be honoring a veteran themselves.
Okay, very
be
good.
in there.
And it's at 11 o'clock, the actual ceremony. If you turn out for Forest Rose, you can watch everybody roll into the fairground about 5 till or 10 till, including the band. Or at Forest Rose Cemetery, not the fairgrounds. It'll be at Forest Rose Cemetery, and it's a brief service, only about 30, 35 minutes, not very long, but it's all about honoring veterans.
Yeah.
They can call you if they want to get in on
They
this.
can call me anytime. My number is 740-407-7292. It's my cell. I don't mind giving it out if they want to be in it. Or if they have a list of loved ones, me and Paul try to work them in there somehow into the ceremony. You know.
Well, Mary
honor
Austin is
them.
with us, who does such a great job of lining up this Memorial Day service each and every year. It's always a wonderful service, and we hope for a day just like this. That would be very nice. But rain or shine, we will be there doing this.
Rain or shine, I don't think we've ever had to cancel it.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Let's don't start this year.
No, not yet.
It's this coming Monday, May 29th, 11 o'clock, down at Forest Rose Cemetery. I hope you can join us. Mary, thank you for
Thank you.
all you do. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. We'll be back on Fairfield Today. Welcome back to Fairfield Today. Thank you for joining us. We'll talk to Dave Scheffler a little bit and discuss again the always busy activities going on with Destination Downtown. And the downtown is such a flurry of activities as we head into the spring and into the summertime. Lots going on here. We'll talk to Dave about all that. I'm going to mention the good folks here at Fairfield Federal. I know internet banking is really the buzzword around the banking world right now. I can remember walking in here. We're downtown at Fairfield Federal, and there used to be a bank of tellers, and you'd see everybody lined up. And they certainly still have numerous tellers there. But of course, these days they have the ATMs, you have branch locations, you have all your devices you can get on your phone or your laptop or your computer at home, your desktop, and do all your banking over that. Fairfield Federal is in on the cutting edge of that. All the information can be found at fairfieldfederal.com. They've got the names of all the folks you can contact by phone if you'd like to do that, or many of the answers that questions you may have about money can be answered right there. They have the locations, they have the rates, they have the programs, they have where you can log in if you already have an account here. So much can be done right at fairfieldfederal.com. So we'll turn to David Scheffler. David, thank you for joining us.
Happy to be here, Paul.
I'm surprised you have 15 minutes that you can spare by judging downtown, whether you want to live downtown, whether you want to play downtown, whether you want to eat downtown. This is the place to be.
Recreation, relaxation.
That's it.
Reading in the park, all kinds of reasons.
There's, I can remember a time when there were so many complaints. I think parking is always a complaint, and we can discuss that later. But the other complaint was, well, there's no place to eat downtown. Nobody can complain about that anymore. Restaurants are opening up pretty quickly.
And it's going to get better,
yes.
Quickly.
We ate at, what's that called, Santino's, over there on Columbus Street. Mm-hmm. Very nice little place right across from Diamond Jim's Pizza there. Great little place. They caters, but that's and then up above us right here, we can see there's going to be a Mexican restaurant opening up
Maria's
here.
Cantina.
Yeah, so, I mean, things continue to pop.
They do. The next thing coming up is Bob's Backyard Barbecue and Cafe.
Behind us about a block?
On West Main Street,
yeah.
Right. They are hot at work, remodeling the interior and putting in their equipment, and hopefully they'll be open in 10 days to 2 weeks.
Really? Getting pretty quick.
And we need a barbecue restaurant in Lancaster.
Yeah, that's one we haven't. We've had a couple come in. They don't last very long. They haven't been downtown. Maybe that's been the problem.
Possibly, yes.
But it'll be nice to have and that's a local place. Local people with that. You've seen the truck around a lot parked.
They've had the food truck for years.
Yeah,
and it's very successful. And one question they always get is, "Where's your restaurant?" So now they can say.
Now there is an answer we like.
That's right.
So then. I was just here a couple weeks ago after a Federal, and they dropped off some baked goods from Shaw's, and that's moving along nicely.
It sure is. I actually had a tour of the ground floor. It's been a week or so ago, and the demolition is all done. The ground floor is going to look significantly different than it has in the past. The old bar will move to the, I guess for lack of a better term, the sunken area in the dining room.
Where it went down there in the front.
Right. A lot of the walls that were in the dining room are gone, so it looks much more open. And what has been the bar will be Mabel and Grace Bakery and Confections, coffee shop, wine store. And Susie is honing her baking skills and adding to everybody's weight downtown. She does test runs. She distributes them around.
I think Aaron
liberally downtown. I can tell. He's
I wasn't going to say that, but nice of you to notice that. I'm sure he appreciates that. But they brought in the baked goods, and we tried those, and they were just wonderful.
Oh, wow.
I mean, they're just nice little samples there.
Yeah, and for cleanup day a couple weeks ago, Susie baked 10 or 12 dozen cinnamon rolls.
Ooh.
Big trays, brought them in. Oh boy, they were a big
Those
hit.
went uneaten, I bet.
Even though it rained and stormed and we had to cancel today, we had about 50 volunteers show up to eat cinnamon rolls, and we had a number of tasks they could do both in the office and between storms. We were able to get some outside work done too, but everybody enjoyed the cinnamon rolls.
Talking with Dave Scheffler, Director of Destination Downtown, and one of the things, I hadn't seen it too often, but I drove by her a couple times the other day, is the old Mickey's Tavern, the old tavern at the mill down there. Dramatically different looking now when you look at it.
There's more change to come to that. Brad Hutchinson purchased it. It's probably been 6 months ago now, and he is in the midst of remodeling. He gutted the entire interior. It was damaged by a fire, I think, in October last year. And he's taken out all the damaged timber, replaced it with timber that he salvaged. It will be an event center. It will have a new porch on the front, the Broad Street side, which has never been there before. City Council passed a resolution to give him a right-of-way easement to put the porch on the front. And the porch on the side, the Columbus Street side, has been torn off and will be replaced by a new, probably more modern porch with glass overhead doors that can be opened during the summer. There will be seating for approximately 300. It will have a commercial kitchen that's usable by caterers that might cater weddings, corporate meetings, graduation parties, any of that type of event. There will not be any rock concerts there.
I'm sure the neighbors appreciate that.
Possibly. Brad may produce some comedy acts himself because he really enjoys comedy. That would probably include dinner. And upstairs will be 4 apartments that are 11 to 1,200 square feet. And there'll be garages for the apartments added to the back, the railroad track side. So that's a really exciting development for downtown. We need more and bigger event space. Having Maria's Cantina reopen, the former lodge, with that event space and with Brad's, that's a great thing. We really miss that event space downtown.
And we talked a little bit about Shaw's, but then there's what's the plan? Is that for apartments up there or condos, or how is that going to work?
Yes, the upper floors will be converted to 25 apartments. And the target date for reopening Shaw's is June 30 or earlier, and it's possible that some apartments may be ready in about the same time frame. So we have a lot of demand for residential living downtown, and this will be the start of that, along with Brad's 4 apartments. It will go a long way toward meeting the demand. There's still the Essex building at North Columbus and Mulberry. That could be in play fairly soon once the demand at Shaw's starts to get met, and will prove to Tom Fortin and the developers that there is the demand for residential downtown.
It's an exciting time, and again, every time we have you on, we don't have to rehash what's been going on because there's always new events happening downtown. It's really amazing.
It is. Sometimes it's hard to keep up with.
I can imagine.
But change is a wonderful thing, and if you don't keep changing, it can get stale. One of the things we're looking forward to this summer is the return of the festival stage, which has been missing for 4 or 5 years.
It's kind of been redone, revamped.
It was damaged in a storm about 5 years ago, and Mike Tharp from the Parks Department took a look at it and said that could be salvaged. And so the festival has raised a significant amount of money, and the stage will be back. It will not only be used for the festival, but for Friday night bandstand events. Excuse me, I'm not sure whether all the Friday night bandstand events will use the stage.
Sure.
But many of them will. Mike, being a musician, understands the niceties of having a stage with plug-in connections for amplifiers and microphones and all that. So the new stage will have all that built in. Mike says it will be able to be set up and torn down in 20 minutes, which is pretty amazing. It will be used during the festival, and this year, for the first time, the soft opening, the Wednesday night before the St. Mary's concert, will be downtown.
That's pretty nice.
Featuring the Lancaster Community Band and members of the festival orchestra, followed by Vital Signs, which is the band featuring Fairfield Medical Center executives and doctors. So that'll be later in the evening, and we're really excited about having another big event downtown for the festival.
And then we have we talked a little bit about the Friday night bandstand. Of course, Fairfield Federal, big involvement there and have been for many, many years. Lots of names, same name group, Mule Skinners, the community band, one of my personal favorites, the British Invasion.
Right.
I always, Eric Blaisdell, I forget his name, but I email him all the time because he always sends out emails about the British Invasion. But some are more popular than others, but boy, that's one of the more popular ones downtown.
It is. Well, Bad Influence will be featured
big
on Friday
group
night
too.
this year.
Big local guys.
And McGuffey
sure.
Lane.
I saw that. Boy, that's bringing back some of the old vibes there.
And some of these bands have national reputations.
Sure. Well, certainly McGuffey Lane is a big name.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is Fairfield Federal's 100th year, so they were extra generous with their contribution to the parks to fund the Friday night band. So Mike and his crew were able to attract some great talent.
And you've mentioned Mike Thark a few times. We want to do that. The Parks Department so involved with keeping it all clean and making sure it looks great behind us. But then with their involvement fixing the stage, the folks here at Fairfield Federal, Ron Keaton, Judy, Rude, everybody so involved. This is the place to be on a Friday night throughout the summer.
Well, I'd say it's the place to be every night.
Would you say that?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
A few years ago, you could look down Main Street on Friday evening and see very few cars. Now, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, you look down Main Street, and every spot on Main Street is filled.
Isn't that amazing to see?
It is amazing, and it's heartwarming when I see there are no parking places on Main Street.
It's a nice problem to have.
It is a nice problem to have.
You didn't have that for many years. You could park anywhere you wanted, but why would you want to?
Why would you want to?
Why would you want to? So, I mean, just an amazing time. Certainly destination downtown, right on the cusp of all this. You guys have done great work, and I think we have a few minutes yet. Wanted to mention your new assistant. You have a new young lady there,
yes.
Replaced Leslie, who took a leave of absence there to grow her family a little bit.
Leslie retired, she would tell you, and she's enjoying every minute of it.
That's great. She deserves that.
I had lunch with her last week, and she's enjoying it. But Michelle is with us now, and Michelle is a ball of fire like Leslie was and getting lots of things done. So we're happy to have her around. She keeps me in line, just like Leslie did. So, I have to behave myself.
By keeping you in line, perhaps that means does all the work. I'm not sure.
Well, no, yes.
We're glad you were in town to get you here.
I'm the big picture guy.
I understand.
I'm the big picture
guy.
Yeah,
well, you're something. We know that, Dave. We're glad when you're here and you're not south and you can join us. But when you looked at, and we've talked about this before, I can remember coming down Columbus Street, heading south, turning onto Main Street, and I'm just blown away by how many cars are right there. It, as you say, you can look out your front window and see it. My goodness, I mean, the downtown is just buzzing with restaurants, with events, with chocolate walk, with bands,
Ladies'
with
night out.
restaurant, ladies' night out. There's no lack of things to get involved with downtown.
Absolutely, and I see Trish is next on the agenda.
That's
it
exactly
looks like.
right.
And
Talk about great museums.
Decorative Arts Center.
My goodness.
The Ohio Glass Museum, the Georgian,
Art and clay.
Art and Clay, Sherman House. We have a lot of great attractions, not to mention the parks. Our downtown is the envy of many other cities. I recently met with an official in Zanesville and met him for lunch, and we met at a restaurant. And before he ever introduced himself, when he sat down, he said, "I love Lancaster." Yes, and he and his wife come over here regularly to eat and shop, especially at Ava's Jewelers, which is another big attraction downtown.
She does great stuff. So, I mean, I can remember several years ago when it wasn't like this, when we were talking. I can remember we did a show for the festival that year, and it was just as the ale house was getting ready to open up, and it seemed like that was kind of the linchpin for so many events in the last 3 or 4 years coming, and places to open. But when that opened, it kind of generated a buzz, and it hasn't stopped.
Yeah, there was a period. Ale House opened, Diamond Jim's opened, Table One opened, all that same summer. And it just started the snowball effect, and it's gotten bigger. You know, some restaurants have turned over, but that's natural in that business. And we have a lot of wonderful, successful restaurants coming now. So Mexican barbecue. There is another
Bakeries.
restaurant seriously looking at downtown, which will be another genre, I guess, of food. So we're working on that, and hopefully that'll be announced here sometime in the near future.
Well, we're just about out of time. But I wanted to mention, I was going to say this when I was just coming in today. I heard on the radio that now the trend is for local restaurants versus chains. More people like to go to local restaurants versus chains. Nothing wrong with the chains, but for you downtown, El Perfecto.
Well, and you get a lot of farm to table.
Yep.
I know the local restaurants, Main Street Bistro is another one, that purchase a lot of their produce from local farmers, which is a great thing. It supports the local economy, and also, you know, it's good fresh food. So we're all for the local restaurants downtown.
Well, if not sooner, we'll have you back around festival time. When if you think it's buzzing now every Friday night, wait for that week of the festival. We'll really be hopping down here. So we'll look forward to an update then. The Keller Market. We've got a lot of things we could always talk about. We'll get to them all sooner or later.
Saturday Cinema.
That's another big one going on now as we speak. So just keep the things rolling downtown. I know you will.
We will.
Yep.
Great.
Dave Scheffler from Destination Downtown, our guest today, and thank you for joining us on Fairfield Today.
Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fairhope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities, and the Frankie Smith Funeral Home.